Greetings. This is Atisha Jain, Open Source Head of Coding Club IIT Guwahati, and I welcome you to today's Advanced GitHub Workshop. This is the structure that we will follow in today's workshop. First, we will tell you about what is Git and GitHub, then installation and setup, creating a pull request, branching, advanced Git commands, and some more things about GitHub respectively. So coming to the introduction, well, GitHub is not Git, both are different things. Git is a version control system which is the most popular version control system in the world. A version control system records changes made to a code over time in a special database called repository. We can look at a project history and see who had done what changes, when and why. And if we screw something, we can easily revert to the earlier state of the project very easily. Now coming to GitHub. GitHub is a hosting platform service which is layered over Git for tracking the code changes on a cloud platform. Now that we are done with the introduction, I will hand it over to my colleague to continue the workshop further.
So, hello, this is Shubham Pathak, and I'm going to be covering the installation and configuration part of Git and GitHub Workshop. We'll start by downloading Git Bash from the official website. Just click on Downloads, choose your operating system here, and it should start downloading. If it doesn't, click here to download manually. Once it's downloaded, open it. So I have downloaded and opened the installer, and we can begin with the installation. You can choose the directory here and check this to make sure there's a shortcut on your desktop. Leave it as it is. Choose your code editor. I use Visual Studio Code, so I'll just check that one. Leave it to let Git decide. This one is to be left to the recommended option. Choose this, use this, and let it be. This is okay as well. This is also okay. Just leave it here and just as you can see, there's a shortcut on my desktop now, and you can launch if you want to. So now we're going to configure Git, and I'll just follow these instructions. First of all, I'll set my username. This is the code, and then I'll configure my email address. Just press enter. Now I can see if they're set or not. You can see the email and name are set. Now I can see all the details using this code. As you can see, it works. Thank you.
So let's discuss how to install Git in macOS. So it's pretty easy. We just need to search Git install in Mac, and over here this website, and this will directly tell about how to download it on macOS. The preferred thing is Homebrew because all these things are comparatively tougher. If first you have to check if there is Homebrew installed on your laptop or not. So like we can check it via brew -v. So as you can see, it's showing me the version, so the Homebrew has been installed in my computer. But if it's not installed, in your computer, you can just copy this and paste it in your terminal and enter. So it will ask your password and the installation process of Homebrew will start. So as it is done in my case, so it's not required for me to do it again. And then to install Git, you just need to copy this command and enter. And it's showing me a warning because in my system Git has been already installed. But if it's not installed in your computer, it will automatically show the procedures and things will start getting installed. And by this way, you can install Git in your computer.
Okay, so I hope everything is fine till here. So let's start the sample project. First, open your terminal. If you're on Windows, then open Git Bash as I have opened. If by chance you are on Mac or Unix based system, then open your default terminals. To make a folder from terminal, first go to the destination where you want to make the folder. For this we will use cd command. Okay. First look where you are. So for this use pwd. Pwd is a command which tells you where you are currently. So right now I am in the user directory. So traverse to desktop using cd command. Now you have switched to desktop. Then use mkdir command to make a folder in desktop. Let's say learning Git. And now we have a directory in desktop named as learning Git. Here it is. Okay, great. To edit the file with nano, type nano and the file name. If you are on Linux and nano is not available and throws any error, then use the package manager to install it. Type. If on Ubuntu, then type sudo apt install nano. Sudo apt install nano. If you are on Ubuntu, and then try the nano command which I typed before. Open this file. Okay, so type whatever you want to type here, like first file of this project. And now to save it, press Ctrl X, hit Y, and hit enter. Good. On Mac it's Command plus X. It's similar on Mac and Linux. Okay. Now you can verify that whatever you wrote isn't there or not by opening it in Notepad, or there's one handy command to check if the content is there in the file or not. It's cat. Type cat learning1.txt, and here's the content which we wrote some time ago. Okay, so let's move forward. This is the main step, that is creating a Git local repository to track all the changes you make in your project folder. To create a Git repository, type git init. This will initialize the empty Git repository in the folder. Now let's check the folder. Yeah, as you can see here, it has initialized a .git repository, empty.git repository. Okay. That thing tracks all the changes which we make in our project during the lifespan. Now there's one thing called staging area. Staging area is like an intermediate area where you add a version of a file or many files that you want to save for the next commit. To check the current status of staging area, type git status As you can see, the file name is in red and saying untracked, which means it's not currently being tracked by the Git repository. So to add the file to get tracked, type git add and the file name. And now type again git status. And now here you can see it's in green, which says that it's currently being tracked and ready to be committed. So now let's commit the change, and commit is basically snaps all the changes, thus making a version to which you can later switch back in the future if needed. So to commit a file, type git commit m and your message. So replace the dashes with your message, like here I will type first commit. This message is important as many people can be working on the same project, and if they need to look into your code and want to understand what you have did in the latest commit, they can see the message you have attached and can understand and get summarized about the changes you have made in a project. So type a very short summary like first commit or like this, okay, and hit enter. Cool. Now press git log. What this command does is, wait, let me show you. Okay, this is done. This is done too. Okay, so we will come to this later on. Let's get back. Okay, so press git log. What this command does is shows us all the commits which we have done till now. As you can see, there is one commit here. It shows the author name, an email attached to it, which here in case is a GitHub email, and the change which we have done. Okay, and now you will be thinking, like, if in your project there are many files, like 50 or hundreds of files are there in your project, and if you're going to add those files manually, like git add your file name, it will take days or lots of time actually. So to avoid that, you can just type git add dot represents the current directory and the subdirectory is in it. So what this will do is will add all the files in the current directory to the staging area. So let's move to a next part. Let's suppose you were coding a file and saved it, but after some time you remember that all the stuff which you coded was wrongly implemented and you want to revert back to a previous version or a previous commit. So let me do with this first file. Let me edit it and let me add some garbage text and save it. Cool. Now type git diff learning1.txt. What this do is it checks all the changes we have made with the file. Type it. Okay, so you can see this is the change which we have done, and so if you want to revert back to the last change or the last commit which was safe, press type git checkout the file name learning1.txt. Updated one path from the index. Now let's check it out. Open it, and voila, it's gone. The garbage values are gone and the file is back to its normal state, the last change. So this can be helpful if you get stumbled somewhere and implement some garbage code which is actually not good for the project. Then you can just git check out and go back to our last one. Okay, so this was all about local repository. Let's dive into remote repositories. There are many remote repository hosting providers out there like GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, and you can even host your own. As GitHub is the most popular provider, we will learn about it. Although all of the providers are layered around Git, so the features will be common among. So, on your browser, log on to GitHub. If you don't have an account, you can make one. I already have an account, so I'm here. This will look something like this if you are logged in. Go to your profile page. Click on this plus sign. Click on new repository. Name it whatever you want to name it, just like I'm naming it here as Git Workshop. So I guess it's already there, so let's name it like Git Workshop underscore workshop. Okay, cool, it's available. Keep it public and let's create a repository. Okay, if all set, then you will get the page like this. Now copy the Git URL from here and open your Git bash. Okay. For this we will use the command git remote add origin and paste your URL. What git remote does is it adds a URL to which all your files will get pushed. Pushed in the sense will get uploaded. Here it is. Git remote add origin you get the viewer. So let's add it. And our remote will get added. Okay. So now to push all the changes that you have made it locally, type git push u origin master. Here origin refers to the name of remote and master. Here origin is the name of the. So now to push all the commits, type git push u origin master. So here origin refers to the name of the remote, which we did here. Add origin. Origin is the name of the remote. You can name it anything. And master is the branch name of the local repository. It's the default name of the branch. Okay. So by default, if you initialize a new Git repository, master will be the default branch in which all your code changes will go. The branching will be covered on later by Gunjan or Harsh, I guess. If you're comparing this branch with tree branch, then yes, it's right, both are equivalent. But tree trunk, a main code is not influenced by different branches. So without getting further into it, let's press enter and push it. It will take some time to upload it. Okay, no, it's done. Okay, cool. Now go to your GitHub repository and refresh it. And yeah, you can see your file here with the content. Nice. To check how many commits and have you committed, you can head over to Insights and then Network. As you can see, we did one commit here on 22nd of August. Okay, cool. Okay, so now let's make a readme file for our remote repository so that if anyone visits our repository, he or she can get to know what your project do just by reading your readme file. So let's create touch readme.md. The name should be as it is, readme in capital, afterwards .md. Okay, cool. And now let's edit it. Readme.md. And let's add some content, heading, subheading. Okay, so as you can see in the PPT, any text after hash will make it a heading, like bigger and bold, and double hash will make it a subheading, like it's bold too but smaller than that. You can add more hashes. It's like HTML tag of h1 to h6. Now let's save it. Okay, cool. Now let's go and commit it and push it to a remote repository. So first we will use git add to add it to the staging area. Cool. Then we will commit it. Cool. And let's push it. Git push origin master. And cool, it's pushed. Yeah, here it is. Heading, subheading, and a triple hashing. Okay, cool, it's visible now. Okay, so now let's move forward to our next component, that is git ignore. So what's git ignore? See, git watches every file as either drag, undrag, or ignored. So git ignore basically avoids the file from getting dragged. So there is actually direct command in git bash which with you can deal to add files. So you may be thinking, actually why we need this? Let's suppose you have a file which had important stuff like the API keys or tokens. You can ignore all those files from being committed and getting pushed to your remote repository by using git ignore. So just to demonstrate, let's make one file named apikey.txt and let's add some stuff. Suppose token, let's see, my token. And now let's create a git ignore file. So .git ignore. Make sure the name is exactly the same in small cases. Create it. And now let's open it and add our API key.file. Add the file name if you want to get ignored. Like here in this case, we want API key from not getting tracked. So add API key.txt. And also there are some rules like hash for committing. And let's suppose you type something like this. What this will do is it will ignore every file which have a .txt extension, which we actually don't need right now. So let's remove that and save it. If you're working with active projects or web dev projects or some other project, this GitHub repository, this one here, has some templates for users. So let's get back to the terminal. Okay, after you added the files to git ignore, you can safely add it to the staging area. Dot status. Cool. And then commit it. Commit. and push it. So now let's try. Let's open our GitHub repository. Okay, here it is, our Git file. And you may have probably seen here like only git ignore is being tracked and not the API key. As git ignore is telling Git from avoiding API key from getting tracked. So when it gets pushed, you will not get the API key in your public repository. Okay, so now let's move on to the next topic, cloning. Cloning refers to cloning or creating a copy of the repository at another location. It's quite simple. First, go to the GitHub repository which you want to clone, copy the link, open your bash, and then type git clone and the URL, and it will simply clone it. Open it with your file repository. Yeah, it's here. Cool. So this was all about command line commands and tips for Git. So let's move on to another main functionality of GitHub, like pull request. So first let's talk about pull request. Let's suppose you want to edit some lines of code in a repository which is actually not yours and belongs to some big organization or a big release group. So this is done using pull request. First, go to the repository page, post code you want to edit. Like here in case I have created a repository with my alternate account, and then just click on fork option. Fork makes a copy of the main repository to your account, which you can edit and later on merge with the original repository. And this is how you will edit the code in the main repository. So let's click on it. It will take some time. Oh, nice. Now it's fog, and as you can see, it's under your name. Now go to the file which you want to edit. Like let's suppose instead of editing we add a file, let's say my username, okay, and .epic. Cool. And just click on commit. And as you can see here, it's saying this branch is one commit ahead of Git's main branch. And as you can see here, you can see the contributor. Just click on it, and this will show you the open pull request button. Just click on this, and it will appear like this. Click on this. Yeah, okay. So the first name is the pull request name, which is here in this case I added a file. You can name it like added and here in this section you can write a short description about what you have added, sort of stuff like that, if you want to explain about a pull request part. And if all is quite good and all done, then just click on create pull request. And cool, the pull request is created and currently is being stated as open. So now comes the waiting time. The owner of the repository still have to review your PR. A PR can only merge when the owner or maintainer of the main repository, which you're of course not, reviews it and allows it to merge. So let's suppose if you are the owner and someone created a pull request. Here I have logged into Incognito. Here it is. Let's refresh it. And as you can see in here in pull request, there's one in here. So let's click on it, and here we can see the pull request which we did. So just click on this, and you can see the commit here and the pull request and no description here. You can click on the commit and see all the changes which we have done here. Idea must be good. And as a owner, to merge this, you just need to first review the commit and then click on merge pull request. Confirm merge. And cool, now it's merged. And if you want to revert it back, like you accidentally clicked on merge and you actually didn't want it to merge it, and the code is like not good and it is creating conflicts with other files, so you can just revert the commit. Click on this, which we here in this case don't want to. Like, you can do this. And now the till here, this was my part. Later on, Harshan Kunchan will take the part. So okay.
I hope you guys are enjoying the workshop. Now we will talk about branches. Why branching? Let's see with an example. Let's suppose I am working on a project and midway I get an idea that we can implement this feature in my project. But I'm not sure whether my friends who are working with me in this project will like it or not. So here GitHub has an amazing feature. I can make a new branch and implement my idea over there without affecting the main project's code. Then after completing that feature, I can show it to my friends, and if they like it, we can merge it back to the main project. So like over here it's shown, this green line is the main master branch, and this is the feature that I was talking about, and this is not affecting my main branch line because this is an alternative branch. But if I feel that this is good enough to be merged, I can then merge it back. Over here, if you read this, there is one more feature I'm using, and it's XYZ. So we can have multiple branches. That's not an issue. And then we can merge any of them. So this gives us freedom to independently work on different modules and merge the modules when you're finished developing them. Let's see some Git branches operations. So you might be wondering how we'll make branches. So over here, this is a repo. I've made this website, Club Courses. It was a task and I made that. So like, I'll first of all clone this to my PC. I'll copy this from here. First I'll come to my desktop so that every file is visible. I'll clone this website. So now as this is cloned, I have all the files over here. Now I'll go to this directory. So now I am on this directory. I'll open VS Code and see how it's there. I've opened VS Code and then I'll open this folder in VS Code. This is the folder. This is the HTML file. And now I'll show you the website once. So this is the website. So I feel like that over here the search button should not be in yellow. Let's suppose that's my feature, that this search button should not be in yellow, and I want to change this to something called blue. Let's assume blue. and this is my feature. So, and I'm not sure that whether my friends will like it or not for working with me in this project. So I make a new branch. First of all, I'll check which branch I am. So if we use this command, it will show that I'm on my main branch and that's the only branch right now. So I'll create a branch. So this is the tag over here. So this is the command to create a branch. So git branch. So my branch name should be feature. So now if I see branch, I have two branches now, but this is in green and an asterisk represent that this is the active branch over here. So now to work on feature branch, I must check out to feature branch. So this can be done by this command. Now if I'll check once again, now you can see the difference. Now I am on my feature branch. So now I'll come to VS Code and let's suppose over here I'll change this to primary so that it's in blue color. Now I'll reload this and as you can see it's blue in color. Now we can make more changes. Alright, welcome to Git Workshop. So suppose these are my changes over here. Now I'll come over here and see status. So as it says modified, I've modified the home.html file. Now I'll add this to my feature branch, and if I check once again, it's now green, so it means it has been added. So now I'll comment feature added. So it says 1 file change, 2 insertions, 2 deletions, and this is all on my feature branch. Now I can push it to the feature branch, but because now the GitHub's policies have been changed, so now we have to use a GitHub token instead of password. Earlier it could have been done with password. So I'll go to settings, I'll go to developer settings, personal access token, I'll generate one token. You have to enter your password and workshop, and I'll click over here. So this will give me all access to repo related operations, and then I'll go and generate token. So now I'll open GitHub again and go to here. Now it's like to push it to a specific branch, there's a different operation. It's not, if you write git push, it won't happen because it's not on the master branch, it's on some other branch. So you have to use this command. So it has been done, but as I've done it before, so it's not asking me a generalized personal token. But if you would be doing it for the first time, it will ask for your GitHub URL and then it will ask for a password. But now as the policies have been changed, you don't have to enter your password, but you have to enter this token which you can generate on your own account, and then it will show this thing. So now if I check over here, as you can see, feature has been added. So if I'll reload this one, now over here feature is there, and over here feature added commit is there, and if I'll open this thing, we can see the changes over here. Welcome to Git Workshop and then primary. But if I go to main branch, if I'll go to main branch and see this same file, it will be different. See, it's warning and welcome. There's no they are not the changes that we made. So this way the branches happen. We have completed our feature and we have pushed it to the feature branch. Now the next step is to merge the feature to the main branch. So we can do this from here also, and we can do it from the terminal also. I'll show you from the terminal. So as written over here, to merge a specific branch, you need to keep some things in mind to avoid branch clashes. So one is that you should be on the branch you want the things to be merged at, and you need to write branch name of the branch you want to merge. So I'll show you with an example. So right now, if we see, we are on the feature branch, but we want main branch, and on main branch we want feature branch to be merged. So we'll check out to main branch. Now we are on the main branch, and then we'll merge. Git merge feature. This is the branch we need to merge. And now we'll push the changes to the main branch. So now, as we'll see, on the main branch, feature has been added. So if you remember that we wrote primary and welcome to Git Workshop, and it's there. And it's on the main branch, not the feature branch. Now, as the feature has been added, we don't need feature branch anymore. So we can delete it. So to delete it, there are two main commands, and it is advised to use the first command because it does not hard deletes everything. In this, it will show error if you're not on the branch, and otherwise it will ask you to not delete stuff when there are unfinished merges. But this will force deletes everything. So this is not advised. Now we'll use git branch t feature. So it has been deleted because we were not on the branch we want to delete. If I would have been on feature branch and used this command, it would have shown an error. So if I see over here, things have been deleted from there, but it's not happened on the website because we haven't used a command to delete the branch from here. Now I'll use this git branch feature. We want to delete, right? So origin delete feature. So this will push the delete to the website. So if we'll see, now it's one branch only and it's main branch, but still the feature we added, it's there. So it's primary, welcome to Git Workshop. So these are the main operation in Git branches. So I hope you all have understood Git branching. Now we'll move to the next section.
So welcome to the next part of this session. We will talk about how we can use GitHub for collaboration and for actual practical purposes. So suppose you want to work on a project with your friends, and there are multiple ways to do this. So it happens many other times that the repository is a famous repository on the internet, and you what to do is you just want to make some incremental changes to the repository and want to contribute to the repository in general. That is one use case. And the second case is the repository is your own. You're creating a new personal project or a group project, and you want your friends to be able to add to that, to modify the files, to delete the files. So these are the two cases. So we will see both of them. First case. So if you are the owner of the repository, if it is your own repository, what you can do is you can add people as collaborators, and each of that person has the complete access to the repository. He can write files, he can delete files, he can do anything to the files on the repository. So you should be very careful in adding collaborators. You must not give the access to any stranger whom you do not know or whom you cannot trust to the repository. And one thing is very important. Again, all the collaborators can merge files directly to the master branch, or even they can make pull requests. They can make changes. So you can add only. You should add the collaborators only if they are a core part of the team, right? So if they are the integral part of the team, 3 or 4 of your friends are working on a repository, then it is essential to add them as collaborators. But in other cases, when your project is a public project, it is mostly recommended not to add people as collaborators. So these are the steps on how you can add as collaborator. So you can go to any of your repository. Let me show. So you can go to any of your repositories which I have created. So suppose this is my repository. I'll go to the settings. In the settings, there is an option of manage access. So go to manage access. Type in your password to enter the sudo mode. And now you can invite collaborators. Here's the option, invite a collaborator. Here you can type the name, username, or the email, whatever you have, and then you can invite them. The person will receive an email with the link to accept the invite, and then he can come and contribute to your repository. Okay. So these were the steps for collaborating. Now, if you don't own the repository, what happens if the repository belongs to someone else and you want to make some changes? So in that case, you will fork the repository. What will you do in forking? So as it has been already explained in the previous slides, you can fork a repository that will create a copy on your own GitHub, and then you can clone it to your own computer, make changes, push it to your own GitHub account, and then you can create a pull request. And once the owner of the repository, the original owner of the repository, will then check if your changes were helpful, if they made some difference, if they were correct, then he will merge them. So once your changes are merged, your branch will be even with the source branch, and you can see your changes implemented in real life. So this is the best way. This is the way in which in most of the open source events, this is the process that is followed, that you fork a repository, make changes, and then create PRs or pull requests in short. So that is the process for collaborating with people on GitHub. Now, this is the second thing. You can also star and follow people. So like we have on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, we can follow people, we can make them friends. So similarly, GitHub is the social network for coders. And in this GitHub, there is an option that if you like someone's project, if you like a project, since everything is open source, you have all the right to fork it. You have all the right to use it for your own purpose. But also you should show some affection, show some respect for the repository, then you can start the repository. So what starring will do, it will just create some trust for the repository. More people will want to contribute to the repository. So it is always recommended if you find something interesting, if you like someone's project, give it a star so that more people can recognize that project. Also, if you star something, it is permanently saved to your GitHub, so you can go to your stars and you can see a list of all the repositories you have starred in the previous time. So you can get a lot of cool repositories, many project ideas or many resources if you star the appropriate repositories. Secondly, there is also an option to follow people. So if you follow someone on GitHub, it basically tells everything that they do. So if they fork someone else's repository, it will show you that such and such person forked someone else's repository. If they star a new repository, it will show. So if you find some people whom you want to follow, whose open source activity or development activities you want to follow, you want to see what kind of material they consume or what kind of repositories they even follow. So you should just go and follow them on GitHub, and it will give you all the updates whenever you open your GitHub account. So for example, if I go to my GitHub homepage, I can see in all activity tab, I can see many of my friends who had created a repository, who had started different repositories. So like this, you can get a lot of details, and I can also see some new repository, something I did not see ML compendium. So I did not know about this. This might be a great resource. There are a lot of stars. So this is a great way to discover new repositories. So this was the starting and following part of GitHub. So moving on to the next part of the workshop. So we were talking about the cool things with GitHub. So now we have seen about collaborating, but if you want to collaborate with people, you want to tell them about you. You will want to let people know what are your interests, what are the fields in which you're working, what has been your past experience. So GitHub provides a very cool space for doing all of this. It is the GitHub profile README. So what will happen if anybody opens up your profile, they will see first of all a short article sort of in which you have explained about yourself, what are the languages you code in, what are your interests, and something maybe fun about yourself. So you can include all that in your GitHub profile README. It will be you can say a resume come description page, because it does not have to be too formal like a resume, but you can include all that you want in that page. It is basically your own page. So for an example, let me show my GitHub profile README. So if I go to github.com/anyperson, so if I go to my username, so it shows this page. This is my GitHub profile README. So you can see I've added a lot of things. I'll give a link to all of these things and how you can also add anything if you like. So these are the things which you can add. You can add even more things. You can add GIFs, you can add stickers. So just make it your own. There's nothing hard and fast. So this is a very cool space which you can use to tell people about yourself. Okay. I have also included a lot of links, because this is one link which is particularly helpful, because you can go over this place, you can fill in some fields. So let us go to this page. You can fill in these fields. You can fill your name, subtitles, your projects, about your languages, and it will automatically create a README for you, because writing Markdown is not the easiest thing in the world. So it will create a README for you. You can simply copy and paste it to your own GitHub README account. Okay, and how do you make changes? So you can see the GitHub readme.md. So what are the steps to create this README file? Create a repository with the exact same name as your GitHub username. So when you are here, click on new repository, and the repository name should be same. So it should be your same as your username, right? And GitHub will say you found a secret. I have already created my user account, a repository with this name. That is why it shows me an error. But otherwise you will get this message, you found a secret, that you can use to add a README to your GitHub profile, right? So make it public and then initialize it with a add a README file, and then create the repository. After you create a repository, you will see something similar. So this will be the repository that will be created. This is a README file. You can edit the README as per your needs. Click on the edit button. This is the Markdown syntax. You can refer more about Markdown from Google or from internet. We have even included in the workshop slides. So this is Markdown, and you can see how is it going to look. So you can make changes over there. If you don't like, you can make changes and then view, and then commit the changes whenever you need. So this is I find it very cool to make changes and like express yourself in this place. So you can experiment with this. So this is something about GitHub profile README. Here are some more articles which you can add if you want to. If you're a blogger, you can add your blogs to your Medium account. You can even add your Spotify last playing to your Medium GitHub account. So you can add a lot of things, and you can just explore them. You can do even more searches on Google, and you will find a lot of things you can add, right? And this is the final step, which is portfolio website. So GitHub also provides you a space to deploy your own websites. So suppose you want to create a portfolio website which you want people to see. So as you might know, to host a website on the internet, you require some server. You require some money that can host your web page. But GitHub, per username, it provides a domain name for each username, and you can use that for free. So it is very easy to use this repository. So let me show how to do this. So you get your own domain to host your personal website, and this is all free. And the best thing, it is very easy to deploy and it supports everything. So suppose you just want to create a simple page with HTML, CSS, or even you want to create a full React based application, everything is supported. Okay. And even if you make some changes in the website, so suppose you have added 1 or 2 projects, and down the line after a year you want to add another project, so you won't have to redeploy the entire thing. Just make the changes, make the pushes, okay, and once you push the code, it will automatically redeploy. and whenever it redeploys, your website gets updated. Okay, so let's see an example of how we can create a personal website on GitHub Pages. So GitHub Pages is that feature which I was talking about. So create a repository with the name of your Git username .github.io. So let me show you. Suppose I go to my profile, new repository, then repository name should be, for in my case, github.io. Okay, so this should be the name of the repository. Now since this is already existing on my account, I've already created a repository, so it shows me this error, but otherwise you can create this repository and then it will be your default repository. So for example, let me go to my repository. So this is my portfolio website. Okay, so you can see I have added it is a very simple website, HTML, CSS, and then some images. Okay, so it is very easy. You can just after you create the repository, you can clone it to your local computer. You can create add files, create changes, push it over here, and once it gets pushed over here, okay, then go to settings. Once you're in the settings page, okay, scroll down. You can see it has GitHub Pages. Pages setting is new tab, so you can just click it out, and you can go to GitHub Pages. See, you can see a Pages tab. So any project, for any project, you can see this. You will see a Pages tab over here. Go to Pages, and then it shows your site is already published at this domain. So my site is already published. I have nothing to do over here. But suppose if your site is not published, then it will show you it is not published, and you can select and save, and then your site will become published at the GitHub Pages account. Okay, at the GitHub Pages domain name. And this is not applicable just for your portfolio website. Suppose you want to host your projects, so you can do that. For example, this is my portfolio website. So let me show you. It is very crappy as of now. Nothing has been done on it. So it is just a bare bones website. Okay, so this is my portfolio website, and suppose if I want to access some of my project which I have hosted, so what you can do is simply see, for example, this project. I've clicked on this project, so it leads me to this project which I made. So you can see ki my URL is same, my initial URL is same, kunjandhanuka.github.io, and I just simply deployed this Corona Tracker project on this URL. So it creates a very formal looking, and it looks very good when you deploy it like this. Okay, so that also I can show you how that can be done, how you can deploy other repositories. So over here, this is the repository. Go to settings. Okay, again pages, as we saw earlier, and you can see it has been published. So whatever pages, whatever you want to publish, you can go here and it will be published at this, at the specific domain name. So it becomes very easy to host all your personal projects and even your portfolio website. And for the portfolio website, if you're lazy, if you don't want to work on all of that, so you can get pretty easily, you can get the HTML templates from the internet, download them, make changes, and then simply push to the GitHub repository. That will create your GitHub Pages account, and that will allow you to host one website for free. So that was it about more on GitHub. GitHub is a great place for all programmers because essentially everybody uses it, right? And there are a lot of hidden features like the README and the GitHub Pages thing. So I hope you learned something new in this workshop, and that's it for this module.
So that was all from our side. We will host a live out session from 6 p.m. today on our Discord channel. Also, we will release a detailed video regarding the task tomorrow morning. Before I end this workshop, I would like to introduce you the members of open source module of Coding Club IIT Guwahati. Thank you for joining and have a great time.